Everybody. I'm just doing a few last minute checks here to make sure everything is working correctly. We'll be starting in about 23 seconds. Hopefully you're ready to learn some English. Let me just make sure that my audio is working. It sounds like it is. That's good. Let me see. Where are we at? 7 seconds. Oh, I can't wait. We're almost ready to start. 1. There we go. Hey, hi, I'm Bob the Canadian, and welcome to this live English lesson where I'm going to once again try to answer as many of your questions as possible about the English language. I think this is a great opportunity every week just to ask those questions about things where you can't find the answers anywhere else. So I'll try my best to answer as many of them as I can. You'll notice I'm not wearing my reading glasses today. Something sad happened this morning. My reading glasses broke. I don't know if you can see, but the lens right here comes out now and there's a big crack. So I'll have to get some crazy glue. Crazy glue is a special type of glue that glues anything together. And I'll have to wear my other pair of glasses. Luckily, I have 2 pairs of reading glasses, so I'll wear this pair. I don't like this pair as much. My favorite pair of glasses broke. That's how things usually go in life. Anyways, before we get started, first of all, hello to Aniko and Julia Olise and Brent from American English with This Guy. Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, is here. Sam, the Taiwanese. Semra is here. Lolly is here. Lolly, I hope you're feeling really good, and I hope you're just having a good day. Going back, I know Renata is here. Modine is here. Wei Chen is here. Let's see here. It's hard to pick through all the names. Talk Italian with Arone is here as well. Good to see all of you. I'm sorry if I missed your name. I know Alina is here. I know Madi was here earlier. Panthera Nori is here. Again, when I start saying names, I feel bad because I think I'm going to forget one. But welcome to this live English lesson. A few things before we get started. Most of you already know the rules. It's funny, I have rules for my live stream. Please keep the chat in English only. Please use the chat to practice your own English. If you have a question, please submit it using the form provided by Todd and Dave and the Nightbot. I already know there is a question. I think there's a question from Ruslan, so we will get started right away. Can you see, is it too reflective, my glasses? Oh, well, I'll just put them further down on my nose. Ruslan says, I put them right back up again. Ruslan says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing today, sir? I'm doing good. As you can tell, I'm in a pretty good mood. Maybe I'll just take these off. I don't need them anyways. Let's see here. Could you tell us what is your favorite movie, song, and book? Very interesting for me. Best wishes. So currently, my favorite book and movie are still The Martian by Andy Weir. The Martian is a novel about an astronaut that gets stuck on Mars all by himself, and he has to learn how to survive. It was also made into a movie with Matt Damon. I often recommend that book to people who are learning English. Buy the book in your own language and read it. Buy the book in English and read it again, and then enjoy the movie in English. In terms of my favorite song, I would say this. I have always listened to current music, so I usually always have the radio on. This past year, I really liked Circles by Post Malone, and I really liked the song Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. Those were 2 of my favorite songs. But normally, I am a classic rock fan. I often at night will sit at my computer and I'll listen to songs by Rush or the Rolling Stones or The Who, some of my favorite older bands. Anyways, let's get to the next question. Thanks, Ruslan. That was a great question. Next question is from Andre. Andre says, hello, Mr. Bob. Could you please pronounce whether you go or not, the weather is cold? Sure. Whether you go or not, the weather is cold. Whether you go or not, and then the weather is cold, they sound exactly the same. Hyperventilating, wait, and width. I think wait might be spelt wrong there, by the way. So hyperventilating, wait, and width. So wait, like the weight of something, how heavy it is, and then wait, like you need to wait. They actually have the same pronunciation. And then width is, the width of this microphone is about 3 centimeters. So that's a unit of measure. Let's see here. I do want to stop and just say hi to people. I don't say hi to people enough in the chat. Again, hi to Lolly. Leandro is here. Dave the Canadian is here. Hi, Dave. Good to see you. Thanks for being here and moderating. Vinu Gopal is here. Michael Zeng is here. Ario is here. Hi, Ario. Good to see you. Sanjay is here. And Kesner is here. Good to see all of you in the chat. Thank you so much for joining this lesson. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a good one. Let's see here. Anatoly says, is New Year as important as Christmas in Canada? Once I celebrated New Year's in Europe, so we picked up a Christmas tree, which one of the locals had thrown out on December 6th. So I did fix a little bit of the sentence there, which one of the locals had thrown out on December 26th. Christmas and New Year's Eve are both really big celebrations. I would say Christmas is a bigger celebration. And New Year's Eve is definitely something everyone celebrates, but sometimes they go to a smaller party. We usually, in a normal year, celebrate New Year's Eve with one other family. We actually celebrate it with Jen's sister's family, but this year we will be celebrating it ourselves. I think you know why. We all need to stay home this holiday season. Let's see here. Hannah's Lexus says, what is the difference between keep silent and keep silence? Okay, so if I was in my classroom, if I said to my students, you need to keep silent during the test, that means they need to make sure they don't talk. But I can also say, I need silence during the test. Okay, so it's a slightly different way of describing it. We wouldn't say keep silence. We would say keep silent, or we would say that we need silence. Okay, I expect silence during the test. You need to keep silent during the test. Let's see here. Maybe it's Wee Chen. I know Wee Chen is in the chat. I see him right now. Wee says, good morning, Teacher Bob. What is the meaning of illustration? Thank you so much. So when you read a children's book, you read the words, but there are also illustrations. So an illustration in a children's book is a drawing. Okay. So you can say that if you are someone who likes to draw, and you draw with a pen and pencil, we could say that you are an illustrator because you like to create pictures in that way. So an illustration is simply a picture that goes along with words. But we can also use illustration when we're talking about an example. So when I answer these questions, sometimes I say, well, here's an example. I could also say, well, here's an illustration of what I'm trying to say. So it can also be used for that as well. Good question, Wee. Let's see here. So, hello, dear Teacher Bob. How's it going? Differences between the words colloquial and vernacular. Thank you very much. Both of these refer to words that are just in the common spoken English, kind of the informal English. I would say colloquial would be like phrases unique to an area, and vernacular would be like phrases unique to maybe the slang or the informal English of the whole country. Now, having said that, I'm going to look it up, of course. Colloquial versus vernacular. Notice that I pronounced both of them. Let's see. What's the difference? I think I explained it well. Vernacular is the language of a people or a national language. Okay, makes sense. Vernacular is a manner of speaking in a familiar conversation in a certain area. So they do both refer to informal English. The vernacular sounds a little more like a national reference, and colloquial is maybe a more local. But basically, it refers to informal English. Marian says, hi, Bob. Good to see you. Thanks, Marian. The meaning of a big deal is important or problem. When you make a big deal of something, when something is a big deal, it's important. Yes, definitely, I would say important. It doesn't have to be a problem, though. It can be something exciting. Like sometimes in my live streams, over 600 people start watching, and that's a big deal for me. So when I say it's a big deal, it means it's exciting, it's cool. But sometimes when someone is annoyed or upset or angry, they will make a big deal of something. And that's kind of where we would also say they blow it out of proportion. They get too angry. They get too emotional. We would say they're making a big deal of it. So that's kind of a negative sense of the word. Let's see here. Eduardo, let me see here. Hi, Bob. Good morning. Good morning, Eduardo. I have a question actually too. Let's go pop in means let's go inside. So tomorrow we're going to go possibly out to visit someone. We're not going to pop into their house because we don't want to go inside. We're going to stand outside to talk to them. When you pop in, it means that you just stop by at someone's place to visit them, okay? So before we were in the current situation in the world, I would pop into my mom's house sometimes for a cup of tea. I would just go pop in. I might call and say, hey, Mom, I might pop in later today. Is that okay? And then I would just drive over and pop in. And then not off the top of my head means, so if someone asks a question and I don't know the answer, I could say, I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Let's go to Google and look it up. So when you know something off the top of your head, it means you have it memorized. If you don't know something or you can't think of something off the top of your head, you don't have it memorized. Let's see here. Khan has the next question, and it is this. Which one is grammatically correct? Grammatically correct. I'm trying to pronounce things properly. Let's see here. So 24-hour notice, 24 hours notice, we would say both. I don't know which one is correct. And then 24 hours notice. I don't think we would spell it that way. We would use one of the first two. You need to give someone 24-hour notice. No, we would say the middle one. Number 2. I'm going to go with number 2. As I say it out loud, that sounds correct. If I want to have a day off, I have to give my boss 24 hours notice. Yes, that's the one you would use. If you want to go on a vacation on a Friday, you need to let your boss have 24 hours notice before you are allowed to go. Let's see here. Rod, the Brazilian English teacher. Hi, Rod. Good to see you. By the way, Rod, I think has a video coming out later today with Caddy from the chat box. You should watch that on his YouTube channel. Mr. Bob, how are you today? I'm good. What is your advice for a student who's afraid or feels ashamed when they make mistakes in English? Thanks. Have a wonderful weekend. So any kind of learning involves making mistakes. The problem when you learn a language is that everyone sees or hears your mistakes. It's a lot easier to make mistakes in school on paper where only the teacher sees it. It's a lot more challenging to make mistakes in public where everyone can hear them. So I would say this, the best thing to do for that student is to have a trusted English tutor that they meet in person or online once a week, where when they make mistakes, they don't need to be ashamed or feel bad. It's just better to have a trusted, kind person who you can make mistakes in front of instead of just making mistakes in public. So that's how I would see it. I really enjoy having a conversation with my French speaking partner, because then when I have a French conversation with a parent at my school, I've already practiced a lot and I'm not likely to make mistakes because I've made mistakes talking to someone else. So find a trusted English teacher. That would be my advice. Frank says, it's well said, so it seems. So it seems is a way of agreeing with someone. If someone says, all the cookies are gone, I could say, so it seems. It's kind of this mysterious way to talk. You might hear a detective or a police officer on a television show say it. If they say, it looks like several people committed this crime, the detective might say, so it seems, as they look around at the crime scene. So it's simply a way of agreeing. Daniel, what was your French level when you started studying at university? So Daniel, the benefit of living in Canada is that if you are an English speaker in Canada, you can take French classes in school from age 6 until age 17 or 18. It's not a lot of French. In elementary school, you get a few hundred hours of French. You learn songs, you learn your colors, you learn how to count. You learn how to say things like j'ai mangé la pizza. You learn some simple verb tenses. In high school, though, you can take 4 French classes in grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so when I went to university, I probably had close to, I would say, 700 hours of French instruction. Now, again, a lot of that instruction was as a young child. And then about 300 hours would have been in high school. So quite a bit, actually. I could speak French functionally when we went on a class trip to Quebec in grade 12. I wasn't fluent, but I was able to read signs and have small conversations with French speakers. Let's see here. Renata says, good afternoon, Bob O. Canadense. I think that's how you say it. That's how you'd say it in Portuguese. My question is, what made you come up with that name for your channel? Thanks for everything. So Renata, I'm not an overly creative person. I'm a very practical person, very logical person. So I wanted the title to have my name. I wanted it to say that you were going to learn English. And then I wanted it to say that I was from Canada because I just thought that sounded cool. So I just thought, well, I'm a Canadian. My name is Bob. I'll make the channel name Learn English with Bob the Canadian. So that's it. It was a completely practical name for a channel. And it's not very original. If you look on YouTube, there are many channels where it'll be Learn English with Vanessa, Learn English with, I can't think of other ones, but that's where I came up with the title. Let's see here. Mike says, hi, Bob. Could you use the words exert and surveillance in example sentences? Have a good day. So sometimes when let's say you're trying to take a tire off your car and you put the wrench on the bolt, you have to exert a lot of force in order to turn that. Sorry, I'm not in the frame. When you open a jar in the kitchen, you have to exert a lot of force to get the jar open. So that's how I would use exert. And then surveillance is something maybe that the police do in order to try to catch someone doing a crime. So they'll have surveillance on a store. We also buy cameras and you can install a surveillance camera. So that's a camera that kind of watches over a certain area in a location. Let's see here. So Lily, this is a tricky one because we use them quite a bit interchangeably. And all I can do is give you some example sentences. What is the difference between every and each? So each day I go for a walk. Every day I go for a walk. I have a cup of coffee every day. I have a cup of coffee each day of the week. So they mean pretty much the same in those example sentences, but do find a good YouTube video where someone explains this in detail, because there are probably situations where they mean slightly different things. So it might be wise for you to have a look at that. Let's see here. Mahmoud says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? Could you tell me what is the difference between opinion, perspective, and prescription? Well, let's do prescription last, because a prescription in my part of the world is a note the doctor gives you in order to get medicine from the pharmacy. So that is really all we use that word for. If I go to the doctor and he says, you need these pills, he'll write me a prescription. I'll go to the pharmacy and the pharmacy will give me a bottle of pills. It probably has different meanings in different parts of the world, but here in Canada, if you talk about a prescription, that's what we would be talking about. Opinion and perspective are simply what you think about something. So you could ask someone, what is your opinion on the United States election? What is your perspective on the US election? So you could use both and pretty much interchangeably. Let's not talk about the US election though. Let's let that go. I think they have it figured out now. So that's awesome. Let's see here. I do want to stop and welcome the 378 people watching. Hi, all of you. It's good to see you here. I know there's many of you in the chat. I know some of you are asking questions in the chat. I usually do not answer questions from the chat. There will be a moment later where members can ask questions, but right now, please just have good conversations with each other. That would be awesome. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, you should subscribe. There it is. There's a button over there. Sometimes I point over there. There's no button over there. There's one right here though. You can subscribe. You can turn on the bell and you'll get a notification when I put out a new video. By the way, subscribing is free. I think you knew that though. Let's see here. Fabio says, what is the difference between a buzzkill and a downer? Thanks a lot. So a buzzkill is when someone says something, or you can describe a person as a buzzkill. if they say something negative. So if someone says, let's go see the new, I can't think of a current movie. Let's go see the new, are there movies out right now? There probably are. Let's go see Tenet. That's a movie I really want to see. And if someone said, oh, I saw it, it's not a very good movie, you could say that's a buzzkill. And that would be described also as kind of a downer. A downer is any time a situation occurs that makes you feel sad instead of happy. So if your car doesn't start, that's a bit of a downer. If you fail a test, that's a downer. So that's how we would use those. Let's see here. Ario has the next question. Hola, Mr. Bob. My question is, could we learn English by watching SpongeBob movies? Spoons on the Run. Is that the name of the movie? I don't know. Sponge on the Run? Probably. Thank you. You can learn English by watching almost anything. SpongeBob has some fairly unique humor, though. So it would be good if you enjoy it, but you would need to really think through whether the humor in that cartoon is actually helping you learn English. But definitely, the more you watch, the better. So if you enjoy it, just watch it. Let's see here. Natalia, hello, Bob. What do you think all good teachers have in common? Thank you. What I think all good teachers have in common is that they have to actually be genuinely interested in helping a student do better. They can't be a teacher because they want the student to do everything their way. They can't be a good teacher if they basically say, learn these 30 things and there's a test. I think good teachers have to find a way to have conversations with students, to encourage students. A good teacher will figure out what a student is good at so that they can use that to help their learning. I think I've gone on a little bit. Basically, good teachers are just genuinely interested in helping a student do better. Not interested in, I don't know, the money or prestige. There's not a lot of prestige in teaching. By the way, in North America, there's not a lot of prestige in teaching. Teachers are respected, but it's not the same as being an athlete or a movie star. That's for sure. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up this morning. Let's see. Good morning, Mr. Bob. So my question today is, what kind of person do you usually call an iconic person? Thanks a lot for helping me out and have a wonderful weekend. So an iconic person is someone who does an amazing job in their field. So an iconic person, let's talk about music. Some iconic bands in the world are bands from the past, like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. They were iconic bands. The Rolling Stones still are. You could talk about in the pop world, someone like Taylor Swift is an iconic singer. In the world of acting, someone like Matt Damon is an iconic actor. So someone who represents their area or field really well. Shreya says, hello, Bob. How to keep every word of English in our minds. Yeah, this is a challenging one. So basically, the more words you learn, the more words you start to forget, it probably feels like. The best way to keep words in your mind or at the front of your mind is to use them a lot. You don't have to use them actively. You can passively listen to music and watch TV. I know for myself with French, I have to read, write, and listen to a certain amount of French every week to keep it fresh in my mind. So yeah, you have to find a way to use that vocabulary over and over again in your regular everyday life. So Kismo says, hi, Teacher Bob. How are you? I'm good. What's the difference between whatever and whatsoever? Thanks. So there wasn't, let's see here. Whatever the weather is today, or it doesn't matter whatever kind of weather we get, I'm still going outside. Yeah. He didn't do a good job whatsoever. There's a couple example sentences there. They're not really related. And I'm trying to think about how I use these phrases. Like, whatever happens between now and next week, there will be a live lesson on Friday. Okay. Whatever happens. And I could say, the student didn't try whatsoever on the test. That means he didn't try at all. So hopefully that helps a bit, Gizmo. That's a challenging one to explain. Let's see here. Brent. Hi, Brent. I've heard Canadians say peaches and cream corn. I think we just call it cream corn in the US. I wonder if it's different. Yes, it is. So peaches and cream corn is it's not a kind of corn. It's a variety of corn. Okay. When you go and buy corn on the cob, you can buy regular corn on the cob, but there's also a kind called peaches and cream, which is a little sweeter. Cream corn is a different thing. Cream corn, I know in the US, is in a can, and it's like corn that has like a creamy sauce with it, I think. So definitely different. By the way, peaches and cream corn on the cob is really tasty. You should try it sometime. Let's see here. SL Lanka says, hi, Bob. Thanks for your great lessons. Do you know the answer to this riddle? Oh, no. How long is this going to take me? Keys but no locks. I have space but no room. You can enter but can't go outside. What am I? Let me see here. So keys but no locks. Okay, I have space but no room. You can enter but can't go outside. What am I? SL, I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to have to think about that. Let's throw that one over to the chat. Let's see if someone in the chat knows the answer to that. I think if I had the time, I could figure it out. So something with keys. So like a piano has keys, but I don't think that's it. I have space but no room. Yes, I don't know the answer. Someone will tell us the answer in the chat. Thanks for that, though. That was great. David has the next question. Is it the same thing to say it's big, the map, versus the map is big? Or things happen versus it happened? So first of all, things happen is the right way to say it. The it happened things is not correct. So we'll just throw that one out. We don't use that one. But it's big, the map. It's kind of a weird expressive way to say it. It's not wrong. You could say it's big, the dog. But normally we would say the dog is big. The map is big. You could say that's a big map. That would be common. But it's big, the map it's not incorrect, but it's not a common way to say it. Let's see here. People in the chat are guessing that it might be a keyboard. I don't know. Possibly. Let's see. Modine. Hi, Mr. Bob. Is there any practical difference between allot and allocate? If so, can you please explain? When are we allowed to use each one? Thank you. Or thanks, you're a sight for sore eye. Thanks, Modine. When you allot something or allocate it, it means the same thing. If I have 20 candies, I could allot 4 to each of my children. I could allocate 4 candies to each of my children. So it's the process of giving something to someone. So yes, definitely you could use them, I think, the same. Kensley says, how can I speak English fluently and quickly, teacher? Practice, 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 practice. I can't stress enough that, so there's a lot of things you can do to learn English. You can passively listen to English. You could watch TV shows. You can watch movies. That's great. You can meet with someone once a week to have a conversation. That's great. But you do need to deliberately practice your English sometime each week. What that means is you almost need to give yourself your own lessons. Like, for instance, if you want to speak English fluently, you should be reading out loud. You should be talking to yourself in the mirror. You should create situations during the week where you're forcing yourself to speak English, to write English, to do things in English. And it just takes time, Kensley. There's no magic way to learn English quickly. Practice makes perfect, Eris Magneto says in the chat, which is exactly what I'm trying to say. Let's see here. Let's see. Justin Trudeau, I don't think this is the real Justin Trudeau, says, God bless for the best country in the world, Canada, my dream Canada. So let's talk about that. I don't think Canada is the best country in the world. I think Canada is a very nice place to live. I think Canada is, I love my country. I love living here. I would never argue that English is the most important language in the world. I would never say that Canada is the best country in the world. I like the whole world. I think the world is a great place. And I like all of the different languages. I like all of the different countries in the world. They are all awesome. Let's see here. Next question. That was my little my little spiel on which country is the best. Kadja says, why I am not speaking English well. So, or interestingly, or write well, but I watch videos. Learning English, I'm very sad about this problem. I am not improving. So I made a few corrections there, Kadja. So a few things. Let's go back to what I said earlier. In order to learn a language, let's break it into three things. You need to surround yourself in English. So if you can, everything you listen to should be in English. All the music you listen to should be in English. You should be watching English television. You should be reading like Wikipedia in English. You should be reading the news. You should do everything you can to surround yourself in English. In addition, you should find someone to talk to every week in English for about 30 minutes. And in addition to that, you should be actively teaching yourself things in English. So I don't know. It does take time. You need to focus on every area. And, once you learn a little bit, it gets easier, I think, to do better as you move along. Let me check something here, everybody. I think we're at the 30-minute mark, which means, let me find my little button here for live chat. So we're going to move into members only chat at this point in time. Members only chat is a time where if you clicked that join button below at some point in the past, and if you have your name in green, you can ask questions directly in the chat right now, and I will answer them. This is always a fun time during the lesson. A long time ago, I used to only have about 30 people in a live stream, and I would just answer questions directly from the chat. And I have fond memories of that time. That was a lot of fun. But now usually there are more people. I think there's 496 people right now. So it gets a little bit too busy in the chat. But let's go with members only chat. Brent from American English with this guy is having a nice conversation with Panthera Nori. Awesome. And he's celebrating that it's members only chat time. That's cool as well. Sam the Taiwanese. Oh, wait. Anuat says, hi, Teacher Bob. Please recommend a Christmas song that is your favorite. Thanks. Oh, a Christmas song that is my favorite. Just listen to anything that Michael Bublé sings. Okay. Michael Bublé is a Canadian singer. He has, I think, at least one or two Christmas albums. Find those. The great song, great singer, great songs. Sam the Taiwanese, and Jingle Bells is the standard Christmas song. If you want, it's not necessarily my favorite, but when you get to the dashing through the snow part, I always liked that as a kid. Sam the Taiwanese, hi Teacher Bob. A cultural question. When you meet a person for the first time, would you hug the person or it depends on the gender? What's the appropriate way to greet people in Canada? So when you meet people for the first time, if it is a formal setting, like at a place of work, you will most often shake their hand. Whether it's a man or a woman, you'll say, hey, nice to meet you. And that's what you say, nice to meet you. And you shake their hand. Right now, we don't shake hands, though. Right now, we just kind of wave like, oh, nice to meet you. And then stand 2 meters apart. But normally, you would shake their hand. If you were meeting like a new family member, or maybe someone in your family's introducing their boyfriend or girlfriend, you might shake their hand. That's quite common. You probably wouldn't hug them. We usually don't hug people until we know them well. Okay. So, and then, you definitely wouldn't hug someone at work. Okay. That just in North America, hugs at work are pretty rare, if not non-existent. So handshakes are okay. Hugs are not. Hugs are good. It's just at the workplace, they're not good. Let's see here. Panthera Nori is saying he is a teacher at school, answering Johan Lee. Thanks, Panthera, for answering questions. Alina says to Brent, thanks. Yeah, we have salt and other stuff, but sometimes they are too late. There was a terrible traffic today because of numerous accidents. So cool English conversation happening there. Awesome stuff. Valerio, have you ever been to Brazil? I have not, but I would like to go to Brazil someday. Let's wait until the world is normal again, and then we can talk about whether we go on trips. Brent from American English with this guy. Peaches and cream corn. Thanks for the explanation. We simply call it sweet corn here in the US. It's best late in the growing season. Yes, sweet corn is very, very yummy. And then Panthera and So Panthera's answering Brent, but Brent is saying hug no one now. Yes, at work, you don't hug. There's no hugs at work. Let's see. Alex says, you transmit us happiness. Well, thank you. I'm glad my happiness and joy goes through the camera and that you guys can enjoy it at the other end. That is awesome. Hey, I got to check my audio for a sec. Yes, everything seems to be working good. Let's see here. Alex says, I already sent my question in the platform. You can ask it again, Alex, just in case I don't get to it, but maybe I already answered it. I can't remember. Let's see here. Brent says, hugs at work might get you fired. Yes. North America, what's a good phrase? The workplace is not a touchy-feely place in North America, okay? The workplace, people, like the handshake is okay. A high five is okay. Fist bump is okay. Hugs are not okay. We are not a very touchy-feely people here in North America. I know in other parts of the world, hugs and kisses and all that in some countries are still good. In North America, at work, just keep your hands to yourself. That's the phrase I'll use. Let's see here. Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, says, do you have any expectations for 2021 besides the obvious, sir? You know, Rod, I don't. I've been trying to think about, I like to make a really good set of videos for the break. I'll talk about that next week. And then I'm not sure about 2021. I really haven't thought it through. I think it'll just be the same old, same old. I'll just keep doing this. I'll keep doing my job and we'll go from there. Anuwat says, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? Yes. So Bruce Willis starred in a movie called Die Hard back in the late 80s. It is considered a Christmas movie, even though it is an action movie and there's lots of fighting and there's lots of, it's definitely an action movie, but it's considered a Christmas movie because it takes place at Christmas, I guess. It's on television right now quite a bit. It was just on last night on the television. So let's see here. Semra says we say milk corn in Turkish. Oh, cool. Let's see. Brent is telling Alina that people forget how to drive at the beginning of the winter. Very true. Here you very quickly realize who has their snow tires on and who doesn't during the first snowstorm. And Panthera Nori says, Dear Teacher Bob, what does it mean I will get backlash? I saw it with the preposition either on or against. So when you get backlash, it means you do something and then people are angry about it, okay? So they kind of are lashing out, but back at you. So you get backlash. I will get backlash about it. Yes. So if I said something inappropriate during a live stream, I would get backlash in the comments. I know that didn't really answer the on or against, but that's what it would be. Brent is saying, that's awesome. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Yes, definitely a Christmas movie. And Valerio says, if you come to Brazil, I invite you to my place to try coffee and pão de queijo. I think that's how you say it, but I'm not sure. We'll see. If I ever end up going to Brazil, I would definitely, first of all, let Rod know, because I've talked to Rod quite a bit. But no plans right now, so we'll see. Let's see here. Let me get back to the questions from the forum. Felipe, you can still ask questions, by the way, members, in the chat. Let me jump over, though, to Felipe says, hi, Mr. Bob. What's the difference between ought, should, and must? You are the best teacher on YouTube. Keep your job. I'll definitely keep my job. I think you mean keep up the good work. That's probably what you meant at the end there. I ought to... let's see here. I always talk about naps. I ought to exercise every day. I should exercise every day. I must exercise every day. They all have varying degrees of that you're obligated or that you should be doing something. Okay. So you ought to eat 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables a day. You should eat 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables every day, or you must eat. So must is a little more like it's the law. Like my students must not use their phones in class, okay? It's not ought or should. It's like it's a rule, okay? So you must wear your seatbelt when you're in your car. If you don't, you get a ticket. So must is a lot stronger than the other ones, for sure. Let's see here. Panthera says, how would you use the expression on the grind? Could it have a figurative meaning? Let's see here. The way we use grind is I often say the same old grind, or work was a real grind today. That's how I would use grind. And then, of course, you can grind your coffee beans, like the normal grinding. But we use it to talk about work sometimes. On the grind, I don't know if I would say that, actually. Anuat says, Brent, I'm curious because free TV in my country rerun it every year. Yeah, I'm sure you're seeing that, Anuat. That's what happens here as well. And then Panthera says, what does skid row mean? It originated from special places or events. So skid row is like the part of the city where there's factories and where things maybe are run down a little bit. The reason it's called skid row is because it refers to when they ship things in trucks, they put it on a skid or a pallet. Okay, so you have a skid. And sometimes in that part of the city, there's a lot of garbage and junk and skids and boxes piled up. So we kind of refer to it as skid row. Hey, thanks, Valerio, for the super chat. That is awesome of you to just chip in and support my channel a little bit. Thank you very much for doing that. That is awesome. Hey, I'm going to turn off members only chat. Just give me 1 second here. That is done. Awesome. Let me do one other thing. I'm clicking too many buttons right now. Sorry, everybody. Let me get to the next question. Next question is from Nurana. Hi, teacher. How's it going? It's going good. My question is, what is the difference between observation and preservation? Thank you. So when you observe something, it means you see it. When my students in class are working hard, I make an observation. So it means I look around and I see that they are working hard. And I might write down students working hard today, or Joe not working hard today. That's an observation. So when you notice something happening, it's an observation. When you watch water on the stove, one observation you might make is that if you leave it there long enough, it starts to boil. Okay. Preservation is when you preserve something. So preservation means to make something not get old with time. You would preserve it, or you would refer to it as preservation. There are many preservation societies in North America that try to preserve parks and those types of things. Mohammadriza says, hi, Teacher Bob, the Canadian. I have a question for you. How to rack my brain to remember recently learned words and expressions. It's too frustrating for me. So one of the problems is if you learn a word and you don't actively use it a lot within the first few days of learning it, you tend to forget it. So if I was to learn the French word for dog, un chien, and then if I didn't use the word at least once every day for 3 or 4 days afterwards, I might actually forget the word. It's very important to learn new vocabulary and then use it. Either use it by just saying it out loud in a sentence the next day and the day after and the day after, or writing it down in a sentence, or using it in a conversation with someone. So make sure you use it somewhere. I had a friend who, when he lived in China, he would learn new words and then he would go out to the market and try to have conversations with people and use each of the words that he had just learned every time. And he said that really helped him remember it. Let's see here. Abel from Texas. Hi, Bob. Good morning. What does rave about mean? Have a wonderful day. When you rave about something, it means you talk about it and you are excited about it. If I went to see a movie and it was a really good movie, I could rave about the movie at work the next day, or I could rave about the movie when I talk to my friends. Basically, it would mean I would be saying it was a great movie. There was great scenes in the movie. I loved it. It was awesome. So when you rave about something, it means you talk excitedly about that thing, for sure. Hey, I want to just stop and thank the 515 people who are here. always cool for me to see that there's that many people who want to improve their English. I'm pointing because there's a subscribe button there, and it is free to click the subscribe button, and you will get notified when I put out a new English lesson on YouTube, which I usually do every Tuesday. I think I've done that consistently for over a year and a half now, maybe even 2 years. It's been a while. Do you know it's almost 4 years now that I've been on YouTube? I'm going to have a little party on, I'm going to say January 3rd. I don't know what day that is. We'll see. Maybe I'll have a 4-year celebration live stream party. We'll see. I got to check my calendar to see if I have time. Let's see here. Alex says, hey there, Prof. Bob. Do the words trouser and pants? Okay, so do the words trousers and pants have the same meaning, or you think there's a difference between them? You rock. Have a nice day. So it's important to know that words have slightly different meanings and usage depending on where you are. So in Canada and in the United States, we almost always use the word pants. Okay, so I wear pants to work. Right now I'm wearing jeans, which is a certain type of pants. We almost always use the word pants. We know what trousers are. Okay, trousers, I think in England are the same thing, but we don't use the word trousers very often. Okay, I wouldn't say to Jen, I can't find my trousers. That would just be an odd thing to say. I might say to Jen, hey, have you seen my pants? It's kind of a weird thing to say too. Let's move on. Let's see here. Alex from Russia says, hello, Teacher Bob. Could you explain what's the difference between awful, terrible, horrible, dreadful? In which situations do you use it? Thank you for your time. So sometimes I get headaches, okay? And sometimes they aren't very good. They are very bad headaches. So I could say to Jen, I have an awful headache. I could say, I have a terrible headache. I have a horrible headache. I have a dreadful headache. Of all of those, I would probably use awful and terrible the most often. I have an awful headache. I have a terrible headache. You can also use these words to describe other things like a car accident. You could say, oh, someone I know had an awful car accident yesterday. Someone I know had a terrible car accident. Someone I know had a horrible car accident. Or someone I know had a dreadful car accident. Of all of those, we would use dreadful the least. We don't use the word dreadful very often in English. You'll hear it. It's used sometimes, but awful, terrible, and horrible are used quite often when describing things. Let's see here. Daniel from Czech says, dear teacher, please, is there a possibility to support your channel via Apple Pay? Thank you. No, Dan, you can, if you wanted to support me, there's the join button via YouTube. But if you scroll down in the description, you can also click a link to Patreon. And that might support different payment options if you did want to buy me a coffee or support me. By the way, to all of you who do support me, I really do appreciate it. It is really nice of you to do that. If you're finding it challenging to figure out how, then don't worry about it too much. I'm sure as time goes by, you'll eventually find a way to do it. And if you can't, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Elmo Gira, how can I improve my speaking skills? So I know this question comes up a lot, and many of you know how I'm going to answer this question, but I think it's a good question. A lot of people spend their time listening to a lot of English or consuming a lot of English and aren't actually spending a lot of time practicing their conversation. So how can you improve your speaking skills? Talk to yourself all the time. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Narrate the things you are doing as you do them. So I always give this example. I am drinking some water. That water was delicious. I'm glad I have water here. Also record yourself and listen to yourself again. And then most certainly find someone who you can speak English with. It's kind of critical to have one person, even if it's only 30 minutes a week, that you speak English to. There's a link below to a place called Preply where you can find someone. It will cost money, but I think for those of you that have some money to spend, the thing that's the most worthwhile for you is to hire an English conversation partner. It's just super helpful. It really is. Alicia says, hello, Teacher Bob. I've watched your kitchen topic And my question is about the difference between whip and whisk. So yesterday we did a live lesson about the kitchen. It made me very, very hungry. But yes, we did a lesson where I showed you a whisk. And then, oh, do I actually have that somewhere? Can I do this without messing up the lesson? Oh, I still have it here. One sec. You guys are like, what's he doing? This is, yes, there we go. Yesterday we talked about a whisk. A whisk is something you use to stir something in a mixing bowl. So the question from Alicia is this: what is the difference between whip and whisk? So when you put cream in a bowl and you use a whisk to whisk it, eventually it turns into whipped cream. Okay, so whip and whisk are similar. When you whip something, you probably just whisk it longer in order to turn it into whipped cream. So some of you probably thought you had time traveled to yesterday because we were suddenly looking at yesterday's lesson, but I use the same software for both. Yeah, here's a good one from Muhi. This is related to yesterday's lesson too. I've never understood why refrigerator and fridge are spelled differently. Doesn't fridge come from shortening refrigerator? Why does fridge have a D? I don't know, Muhi, and it doesn't make sense. You are totally right in asking why it is that way, but fridge has a D, okay? Fridge. I think it's because of how we say it. We say refrigerator, but when we say fridge, you can hear a little bit of a D in there. So maybe somewhere along the way, someone added it. That could be. Let's see here. Andrew says, hi, Bob, how are you? What do you think about encyclopedias as a way to expand your vocabulary? Encyclopedias for children with such topics as science, health, and history. So first of all, there are a series of books from DK Publishing, which are made for children, and they're kind of encyclopedias about different topics, and they have lots of words and pictures in them. I think those are excellent. I think if you get a normal encyclopedia and you just try to learn every entry, I'm not sure that's going to be a good way to do it. Even the dictionary is not necessarily the best way to learn a language. What I wish we had is a dictionary of words by usage. That probably exists, which would help you memorize the 5,000 most important words in English. But I think it's good to start. I know my friend Christian from Kangaroo English, he did a live stream where he read a huge portion of the dictionary a couple months ago to raise money for charity. I was totally impressed by him. If you ever go over to Kangaroo English, if you search back, I'm not sure if it's still there, but he attempted to read the dictionary. He made it so far. I can't believe how long he lasted. There's no way I would have been able to do it. I was super impressed by that. That was cool. If you're watching this, Christian, that was awesome. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hi, Teacher Bob. This is from Nazir. How are you? What's the difference between I'm done and I've done? Most English speakers often say I'm done instead of I've done. So I've done a lot of things in my life. I wouldn't use these interchangeably, okay? When I'm doing a job, if someone says, are you done? I would say, yep, I'm done. If someone said, have you done many fun things in your life? I would say, yes, I've done many fun things in my life. So probably don't get them too confused because I think they're actually very different. I wouldn't say, I don't want to say something wrong here, so I'm saying it in my mind. Yeah, because you would say things like, I'm done with eating pizza. That's not true, but I'm done with eating pizza. I'm done the job. I'm done cleaning the kitchen. And then you would say things like, I've done many exciting things in the past. I've done a lot of different types of work. Yeah, they're different. They're very different. So just kind of look at those two verb tenses. Let's see. Katerina. Hi, Bob. I heard the other day that in Canada, if you call the ambulance to your house, it's not free. I wonder how much it costs. So I've actually twice in my life called the ambulance and it did not cost anything. I think it really depends where you are in Canada. In general, it is free to call the ambulance, okay? Don't take my word for it, though. You will want to do a Google search for the city you live in if you are in Canada, because I think if you call the ambulance and if it wasn't an emergency, they can charge you money. But generally, if you are in danger or you are hurt, there is no cost for the ambulance. We've had to call the ambulance twice, and there has been no charge. Long time ago, my daughter had a really high fever, and then we had to call the ambulance because she had what was called a seizure. That was very scary, by the way. And then a long time ago, I had kidney stones, and I had a kidney stone on each side of my body, and I was in extreme pain, and Jen called the ambulance. Luckily, we haven't called the ambulance for many, many, many years, but we have in our life called the ambulance, and it did not cost money. Both of those times. So this is from Hyan. Hi, Bob. I heard in a children's song, life is but a dream. What does but mean in this sentence? It's kind of just an extra word to make it sound more poetic. Okay. So when I say things like water is but a delicious thing to drink, it's kind of like you're talking in a poetic way. There is no requirement to have the word but in that sentence. In fact, in normal speech, you wouldn't use it. You would just say, life is like a dream. You wouldn't say but, you would use like. So it's very poetic. It's because it's a song and they just put it in the lyrics to make it sound cool, I think. Let's see here. Madi's asking, do you drink lots of water? I'm not sure if he's asking me, but yes, Madi, I have coffee in the morning, 1 cup of coffee. And then the rest of the day, I drink water. So I'm not sure you were asking me, but I'll answer you anyways. Let me just check where we are. I'm going to see how many questions we have left. I think there are quite a few, and I don't really have time to go too much longer. So we'll keep moving along, and we'll see how many I can get answered. Maria, wow. It's the first time I'm watching you live. Well, hi, Maria. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. Is this correct? Yes, it was. I love your videos and tips. My fave is about the kid denying he ate the last cookies. I think whenever I use the example of cookies and cookies that are missing, I'm actually probably talking about myself as a kid. When I was a kid, I often ate the last cookie. Hey, Live Universe has given a super sticker. Thank you, Live Universe, for that. That is awesome. Thank you for just reaching out and supporting the work that I do here. I should also say hi to the 559 people watching. Welcome. I'm Bob the Canadian. I teach English here on YouTube. This is a live lesson. Believe it or not, I'm live right now. I'm sitting in my office doing a live English lesson. If you're new here, you should click the subscribe button. I always appreciate that. Let's see here. Raheem says, hi, Teacher Bob. How are you? I'm good. Please, what is the difference between I like reading and I love reading, and between fair and right? Thank you for responding. So I think I did a video on like and love. Maybe Dave or Todd can look it up and put the link in the chat. When you like doing something, you enjoy it. When you love doing something, you really enjoy it. Okay. So I like reading, but I love reading science fiction. Okay. So in general, I do like reading. Okay. But when I think about science fiction books, I love. So it's here's like, and then love is up here. The difference between fair and right, when somebody is fair, that means they listen to both sides of the story and they give advice that honors both stories, I think. When you're right, it simply means you're not wrong. So a little bit different. Thanks, Dave, for the video. Dave has found the video on like versus love. I think I climb up on my wagon when I do that. I'm not sure. Hey, Valerio has given me the super sticker with the coffee mug. Thank you, Valerio, for the super sticker. That's awesome. Thanks a lot for that. Let's see here. Greel says, hello, Bob. It is a pleasure for me to see you. It is a pleasure for me to see you. I have a son who is bilingual. Could you please tell me some tips? You're awesome. Thank you. I'm Argentinian. Well, the biggest tip I can give is this. We live in a world where you have the internet. When I was first learning French many, many years ago, the internet didn't really exist yet. The internet is an amazing place to help you perfect your English. An amazing place to learn English. So watch lots of YouTube. Read the simple Wikipedia page whenever you look something up. Listen to music in English. Use the internet as much as you possibly can. That's my biggest tip. Read the news every day in English. Read the news and then watch the news in English on the internet. The internet's amazing for helping you learn a language. Let's see here. Anwar says, hello, teacher. Can you give another synonym that I can use instead of in order to? Thank you and have a good day. So in order to do this lesson, I have to buy equipment. I could also say, for me to do this lesson, I have to buy equipment. In order to do this lesson, I need to buy equipment. For me to be able to do this lesson, I have to buy equipment. For them to be able to deliver the vaccine, they need really cold freezers. In order for them to deliver the vaccine, they need really cold freezers. So I would say for me, for them, for him replaces in order to in the examples that I gave. Let's see. Eris says, greetings, Bob. I've got a question with regard to phrasal verbs. Wherein lies the difference between to demolish, to eradicate, to mow down? When you demolish a building, it means you take it from standing to a pile of rubble. When you eradicate something, it means you get rid of it. Okay, it doesn't exist anymore. So we want to eradicate coronavirus. We want to just get rid of it. When you mow something down, it usually is something where people are standing and then they're mowed down. It's like in a war if you fired on people, you would be it's not a pleasant thing to talk about. But they are all slightly different eras, that's for sure. Let's see here. Venugalpal says, how to speak English for beginners. Just start. The biggest thing for beginners is that it can be scary to start speaking English. You just need to start doing it. You need to find a way to have a conversation as often as you can in English. You might even just practice with someone else who is learning English. Don't worry about learning things wrong. Just do it. Just start speaking English as soon as you possibly can. Even talk to yourself. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Write a conversation down on paper and then have a conversation with yourself where you read both parts of the conversation. Just a great thing to do. You know what, folks? I'm going to wrap this up. I think we are done. So it's been an hour. Sorry, I know there are many questions that I didn't get to. Let me just check for a sec. Yes, there are many. Sorry, there are like 30 more questions, so I won't be able to get to them. Anyways, thanks for watching. Couple things that you can do after this lesson. Number one, I think Brent might be having a live stream later today. I know Rod from Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, has an interview coming out later today. You can also come back here and watch parts of this video with the subtitles turned on. It sometimes takes a whole day for the subtitles to show up, but if there were parts you didn't understand, you could do that. If you haven't watched my video from this past week, I will put a link to it right now. If you wait a moment, then Nightbot will share a link for you that you can follow that. Otherwise, if you're tired of learning English, just have a good day. Just turn your computer off, have a nap, watch a TV show, cook something, do something fun for the rest of your day. It's good to see all of you again. I do want to say bye in particular to people who I recognize. Bye, Julia. Bye, Lolly Lolly. Good to see you again, Lolly Lolly. Bye, Panthera Nori. Todd, Dave, thank you so much for being here. Of course, Brent from American English with This Guy, and Rod, the Brazilian English teacher. Thanks for being in the chat as well. And yeah, let me just scroll back. Let's see. Bye to Julia Olise, Modine, Athanasios. See you guys. Pankaj, Narana. I know Luciano is here. Talk Italian with Arone was here earlier. I think he still might be here. I think I mentioned Panthera Nori already. Semra, Madi, of course, is here. Wei Chen. So many of you. Sorry if I did not mention your name, but thank you for being here. It's always fun on what's not actually a very cold December day for me to hang out with you guys and have a nice morning. So anyways, I'm going to have some lunch now, I think. Bye, everybody.